This is The Fallen by Krissa Curran, Chapter 5, Polaris. For a long time we sat in silence. 20 minutes must have passed with us just staring at each other, gazing, speaking with our minds again. Whether or not it was real conversation, I didn't care. It was comforting. I was enjoying the moment, relishing it. There was nothing awkward about the silence. If anything, it was more intimate that way. If intimacy was something you could have with a stranger. All these thoughts, all these questions were whirring through my brain. I had to somehow get them out, verbally, just to make sure I was actually hearing things right. But before I could break the silence, Sebastian cut in, as if anticipating my thoughts once again. I am real, you know. Oh, really? I thought I was just imagining things. Though I'd let my guard down, I wasn't willing to let him off so lightly. I was still convinced I'd somehow lost my mind over the course of the afternoon, and possibly also a boyfriend as well, when I just realized I loved and couldn't bear to see hurt. Why's that? What makes this so hard to believe? Have I become that repulsive? I laughed, thinking he was being sarcastic. How on earth could he think he was repulsive? I gravitated towards him as if he was my next big hit. Hardly. I kept it cool. It proved difficult considering the inner battle I was simultaneously fighting. To be sane or insane, that is the question. Which one feels like the truth? Well, what is it then? He asked. Well, for starters, you're glowing. I said this indifferently, as if it were the most normal thing in the world. After all, here I was holding the image of a boy who had been haunting me for months. What else was new? You're almost startlingly incandescent. You look like a hologram, like a mirage. I can almost see through you. And, I added with emphasis, I can't feel the right side of my body because I'm numb. What is that? Well, why don't you then? Why don't I what? See through me. I felt myself blush. I was hoping he wouldn't focus on that part of my rant. I mumbled something under my breath. What was that? I tried again. Sorry, you're going to have to unravel your tongue first. I can't understand a word you're saying. He was so annoying. I knew that he knew damn well what I was trying to say. He was just enjoying me, watching me squirm like this way too much. I said, it's because I can't stop looking at your face. Not just your face. I can't stop looking at you. Not when you're so close. Especially when you're so close. Why am I even doing this? I'm pouring my heart out to a complete stranger. I told you, I'm no stranger. Not to you. He seemed to ponder my reaction. Maybe that's a good thing then. Maybe you shouldn't try looking too far ahead of yourself. It never does anybody any good. What are you saying then? That I should just ignore the fact that you're not real? I can see right through you? Like a ghost? I'm no ghost. If I were a ghost, then how could your friends have seen me today? Besides, I'm not saying you should ignore what you see, or more like what you sense. I'm only asking you to consider which of your senses feels more real to you. Are you listening to your eyes? Those eyes that play tricks on you weighted ones all the time? Or are you listening to your heart, the one beating furiously in your chest this very second? Your sense of touch, perhaps, of feeling. The sense, you said, which is making your body feel all numb. I couldn't respond. How do you respond to a suggestion like that? A proposition that was asking me to let go of all my inhibitions and walk around blindly in the dark, following nothing but the pull of my heart. Sebastian seemed pleased, because my silence meant I was doing the one thing he had asked me to consider it. Still, I wanted answers, not more rhetorical questions. I had enough of that from AP Physics. I decided, instead, to focus on the more obvious question, the one I was really dying to know the answer to. Well, what are you then? If you're not a ghost, and you're clearly not simply human, what are you? Like, human 2.0? I jibbed, scoffed at my own lame joke. He laughed again, apparently amused by an insult I hadn't even realized I had made. Not quite so low. Of course. How could you be anything less than 10? I never said there were 10 different kinds of human. Okay, there. See that? I exclaimed. How do you keep doing that? Of course, I didn't have to explain what I was suddenly so excited about, because he already knew. I know what you're thinking. Yeah, I gathered that much, I quipped, but then I realized that arrogance would get me nowhere. I hesitated. Know what I'm thinking? I asked with a bit more humility. You read my thoughts? I queried, suddenly embarrassed. He laughs. No, I don't read your thoughts. I just know them. Kind of like hearing an echo before the original sound is made. That doesn't make any sense. How can you hear an echo, my words, before the original sound, my thought, has even formulated in my head? If I don't even know what I'm going to say, how can you? Well, do you remember me telling you I exist out of time, that I know how it all ends? All I could muster up was a flat, unimpressed expression. Okay, seriously now. Please. What do you mean you exist out of time? That you know how it all ends? How what all ends? The world? Are you telling me you know when the world is going to end? Let me guess. 2012. I couldn't help myself. I just about had it up to here with 2012 fanatics. The idiots. Someone somewhere was making a lot of money out of this hype. Oh, I thought we'd covered this part. Or maybe I just assumed you already knew, somewhere deep inside that clogged up head of yours. Well, I'm sorry I can't keep up with your super sophisticated, out-of-this-world mind. I was getting worked up again by my own imagination. No, it's not your fault. Clearly, something has gone very wrong here. He frowned, talking more to himself than to me. He seemed genuinely upset about something. Something that was clearly very wrong with me. Sorry, I didn't mean that. I didn't mean something was wrong with you. Not exactly. My mouth just dropped open, and I shrugged in defeat. See, how do you do that? I swear I wasn't even thinking it, but now I am. You think something is wrong with me? You weren't thinking it, but you felt it. I felt the change in you. Your, how do I put this? Your charge, your aura, changed. And you could detect that? With what? Your microsensors? Again, the besotted laugh. Nothing I could do or say would ever disturb him. It was all so amusing to him, like I was a spectacle to be made fun of, a human freak show. Actually, the theory works. I guess you could say that. Right. I rolled my eyes. I decided to just skip over the parts that were clearly way beyond my human capacity of comprehension. Okay, let's start again. Putting aside who or what I am to you right now, let's go back to the part where I said I exist out of time. I cut in, and that you know how it all began and how it all ends. Yes, I remember. Okay. Well, if you follow the same train of thought and squeeze it into the timescale of a few seconds, then as long as you're on the right path, I can see where you, or your mind, is headed. I know it like a well-versed script that I've read hundreds and thousands of times. As long as you're on the right path and things are going according to plan, I can guess what you were thinking based on the words I hear you speak in the future. I cannot read your thoughts directly, but if I pick up on a trigger point and remember where we are in the narrative, I can, backtrack.